Take off.
Well, first off, nice to see you all again. How's everyone doing?
Doing fantastic.
Good.
How about yourselves? How are you doing?
Great.
Look forward to meeting today.
Good. Should we start with introductions again? Just maybe start with Wyatt down here. Just name and role.
Yeah, I'm Wyatt. I'm the product specialist.
I'm Sam, I'm the financial analyst.
I'm Owen. I'm the leader.
I'm Luke, I'm the backup leader.
I'm Kale, I'm also an analyst.
Awesome. Let's keep going online.
I'm Tyler, I'm an analyst.
I'm Ivy, I'm also an analyst.
I'm Grant, the team lead.
I'm Ben, lieutenant.
I'm Henry, I'm the team manager.
Nice.
Fantastic. Great to see all of you again.
Yep. And then just diving into the agenda. I know we talked about it briefly last meeting. Start off with contract length, the number of units, followed by a short break, and then dive into percentage discount, credit terms, and then the training package. Another break, and then we'll talk about the letter of recommendation, and then talk about the contract. How's that sound?
I think that still works for us. That sounds fantastic.
And then just to keep it flowing good and organized, we'll step out of the room first, and you guys can stay here first, and then we'll stay here the second time. How's that sound?
I think that should work for us. Works for anybody.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Cool. All right.
Sounds great.
Well, let's dive into this contract length. I know we're on different sides of the spectrum. I would just like to clarify, because when we came in to set the agenda, you kind of had 2 different years and the amount of how much you actually wanted. Could you just clarify what your opening was for the contract?
Yeah, so as far as contract length right off the bat, we were looking at a 1-year contract is what would be ideal. I know there was a little bit of miscommunication within previous meetings. With that 1 year, we are looking for 50 units. I know that's jumping ahead in our agenda, but we're looking for 50 units within the first year, and if that extends onwards, then that 50 units per year would remain true unless further negotiated here. So we're looking for 1 year after the bat, really get a good understanding of how the product works and really see how it fits into our business models and how our athletes really respond to a product like this. But yeah, one year with 50 units is what we would like to start at as far as contract length.
And you're saying just the biggest reason behind that is getting trainers and players introduced to the product without getting into any long-term deal, stuff like that.
Right, exactly right. I know this is a fairly new product, and it doesn't have a whole lot of recognition definitely within soccer and within the sports field in general. So I know you guys mentioned you've worked with a little bit of NFL and some professional football. But as far as the soccer goes, we know this is a brand new product for all of our athletes, and we really like to see how they respond and how it really works in with them, and if we can really see some value as they're using it. So that 1 year length, I think, is going to give us an optimal amount of time to really be able to see how it's going to work, and then further push on to there.
And just talking through our previous meetings, you said that percentage discount is really important for you guys.
Definitely.
If not the most important.
Definitely.
It's hard for us to give you a good discount with such a short contract length. Can you understand that?
I totally get where you're coming from on such a small amount of time with the discount. But you got to understand from our point of view as well that this is a brand new product, and how do we know that all of our athletes are going to feel goofy using these products, and how do we know that it's really going to do what it says and keeping our athletes safe? So I think having a 1 year time frame for us to use the product is going to further be able to solidify whether we can use it in the future. So I really don't want to get bound to too long of a time frame as far as if we get into a too long of a deal and then find out after year 1 that it's not actually going to be as much of a value that we thought it was going to be for our organization, then we come out with a bunch of products that are unusable.
Yeah, if we can just kind of explain our reasoning for generally approaching with a longer contract. What we've seen in the past is that the longer and the more the athletes use this specific product, the more benefits that they get from it. Not that they won't see benefits after a year, but more so the more practice and hours that they get using the product, the better it's going to work in the long run. So that's kind of just where we're coming from on that. It's just the idea that it would further benefit them the longer they were to use it.
100%. No, I totally get that the longer that obviously the training and the longer that this machine or product is being used, the better it's going to work, and the better that these athletes are going to be prepared for that. But do you guys have any statistics as far as how much you guys have been able to tackle concussions over a 10-year span that you guys mentioned before as your opening target goal there?
Yeah, Wyatt, you want to take over on that one?
Yeah, we've worked with a couple teams, including that NFL team is the Detroit Lions, and they just recently, just this last year, used TopSpin for their entire team, and they didn't have a single player miss a game due to a neck injury or concussion. It's a newer product, so we haven't been able to do like a long-term like study if it's working well, but we've had Mayo Clinic clinical trials used for a junior A hockey team as well, and reduced the rate of concussions or neck injuries by I think it was 85% on here, and that was throughout the whole team. And one of the injuries was a very bad collision that there's not a whole lot that would have helped that situation there, but with the short time that we've had this and out to other products and teams, it's been working really well. We're seeing about an 85% or higher rate of like reduced concussions or neck injuries right now.
For sure, no, those are some pretty impressive numbers, and if I'm hearing you correctly, to clarify, you guys, or your products found that 85% of concussions were alleviated within the 1 year of being used within those teams?
Yes.
So, moving back on my last point, if I can alleviate 85% of concussions within 1 year of having this product, I think a 1 year deal should pretty much be solidified there. I mean, if I can get that much benefit from your product within a year, and then if those numbers rang true at the end of 1 year, I think we could definitely move forward afterwards. But as of right now, if you guys are seeing these results within that 1 year time frame, I think that works perfectly for us.
So that 1 year option is just something we're not looking for with a partnership with MLS. We believe that, since it's being a new product and there's going to be a lot more technological advances as it progresses like year after year after year, we think that it's very beneficial to the MLS, especially with most of your players coming from older age, being stars in Europe and Spain, stuff like that, and being able to further progress their careers in America. You want to protect those players because they bring in so much revenue for you guys. So I feel like going into a longer deal would be really beneficial for you guys, just because you can not only get more of a discount, but throughout those 10 years with more technological advancements, you'll be able to save more money in the long run.
I would like to chime in there. So you said as far as like professional teams using TopSpin, it's the Detroit Lions, they're a football team, they have helmets. How much of those concussions are prevented because of the helmets and the technology used in the helmets and the advances in the helmets, as opposed to like, how do we know that TopSpin was the reason those people didn't get concussions?
Well, if you follow the NFL, you can tell that a lot of players are out because of concussions.
Yeah.
I mean, they all wear the same helmets.
Yeah.
They have
Yeah.
only a couple different designs, and it's pretty incredible to see that zero players miss games.
Over the last couple of years, there's been a little over 200 concussions in the league each year. So for a team to have zero concussions, we feel like really kind of reaps the benefits of the product almost. It's almost unheard of, I feel like, for a team to have no concussions. So it's super cool for us to see, but yeah, I mean, they do get a ton of concussions in the NFL, even with the helmets. So that's somewhere we feel like the product is being beneficial. And that's kind of where I think we want a lesser contract of a 1 year contract, just to kind of see it and do like a trial run, because we've never done business with you guys before. So this is where we want the 1 year contract to kind of see and test that theory of like TopSpin really does reduce the amount of concussions for players.
Kind of to add on to what Ben was saying, so do you guys have any data about the MLS and kind of how TopSpin would benefit, soccer players opposed to NFL players? Not directly into the MLS because we haven't worked with the soccer team before, but with like tying into the NFL, yeah, everybody uses the helmets and there's a ton of concussions used, but it's more about strengthening the neck as well. So being you guys don't wear helmets, it's about strengthening the neck so you're avoiding the whiplash and stuff, and that's what the TopSpin can do. So when you guys continue using it for years, it's kind of like working out. If you continue doing it, you're going to get stronger, but if you start slowing working out or you just completely stop, the muscles are just going to kind of retract and go away, and you're not going to build that strength anymore, and that's when you're prone to more concussions. So although the Lions saw this huge progression this year, if they stop using it next year, those numbers are just going to go back up. So you have to continue using it, and it's something where you can build your neck strength up, and then that helps your head as well. Right. But just to clarify, you guys have never tested this on any soccer players or have any deals with? We've not branched into the soccer region as of yet. That's why we're trying to branch in this region, but obviously
every sport is different, but we've worked with volleyball teams, football teams, and a basketball team as well. So a lot of college teams, but we're working with other sports, just not MLS yet, because we haven't got into that region. So we don't have that data yet, but everybody's head kind of moves in the same way where whiplash, especially when you guys are taking headers and stuff like that, you have to build a strong neck, and it seems like the perfect sport to kind of use that for this experimental helmet that we're using right now. It's having great feedback from our players that we've used it before.
100%. And I'd like to key in a little bit more. I mean, obviously, I think we're comparing apples to oranges here, really, when we're talking about football as it compares to soccer and the Major League Soccer space. Football is a very head contact sport. Obviously, you have guys that are wearing the helmets for a reason, because that is just a little bit more of a rough sport than us for soccer. You make a great point with the headers and other things where the head is being used in soccer. But as far as taking down concussions within the football space in the NFL, I think that's totally not a very light comparison when we're talking about Major League Soccer. So, do you guys have any more statistics as far as how basketball teams have benefited from this product? I feel like that's more of a light sport to compare within the different amount of contact that football and soccer are differentiating in.
Yeah, so obviously basketball isn't as much of a contact sport. I would like to say that the MLS and soccer in general is more of a contact sport than basketball. There's a lot more of these kind of weaker fouls and stuff, and it's not a whole lot of head injuries, but we saw a huge progression in the college team that used it, that they saw it was a 92% increase or reduction in head injuries and concussions and stuff like that. And that was in a couple of years of trials, because that first year they saw, I think it was an 82% reduction in the concussions, but as they kept using it, we got more upgrades into the helmet, we saw that number continue going up and less concussions being used for that. So obviously they're not using helmets, but it's a less contact sport than soccer, I would say. So it's kind of similar, but I feel like NFL is probably the closest because it's a huge contact sport, kind of like the MLS is.
For sure. No, I appreciate those stats and I appreciate that information. I think I can definitely see the value in this product and how it would benefit Major League Soccer, but we definitely can get even close to that 10-year number. I think I'm comfortable enough to go up to a 2-year deal with you guys, because then I think that would really benefit us to not only get the first year trial and really see how the athletes react to it, but then we can really track those numbers to see, they maybe go down X amount in the first year, and then we can see, are they continuing to go down, are they plateauing, are they going back up, what is the result in the second year? I think a 2-year deal would really give us a great outlook on how it not only would react with our athletes, but also prove itself over the second year.
Just with the contract thing being our most important thing, the 2-year deal is definitely a lot shorter than what we're looking for, just because we're really trying to get into a wide variety of sports, and we feel like it's got to be somewhere in the middle, around maybe 5 or 6, if we're going to kind of agree to this contract line.
Okay. 5 or 6 years is what you guys are looking for. That's definitely better than that 10-year mark, but I still don't think that we can reach out to there. Going along with that, you are trying to branch out into multiple different sports and get some really good presence with your product. And I think along with that, the way you're going to branch into many different spaces is creating those good relationships. I think you guys all seem like some pretty good people to work with. So if that relationship can be drawn out, and then we can have some good success, I think that can be renegotiated here in a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think our two-year mark is looking ideal for me. I can maybe even go up to 3 years if you guys would be more comfortable with that. I think 3 years would definitely be on the high end for us, but I think we could see some value enough to, if we can come to credit terms and some discount percentages that align with that, I think we could go up to 3 years on that.
So as you mentioned, you wanted to see the data and how it would help your players over time, and I think that a longer contract would just be able to get more successful, consistent data, is especially 1 year, but going into that 4 or 5 range, would really see more results than just the 2 range, especially because it is a new sport, right? So we've never done it before, so we don't know what the data is going to look like. So we would like to have it a little longer to be able to collect that data and have our product grow using
I think the longer the data is obviously better. With the data that you have brought us today, I mean, you guys have been able to generate conclusions after 1 year within an NFL team and 1 year within some other leagues. So if we are giving you an extra year or even 2 on top of that 1 year that you've been able to benchmark before, I think that would be, some very good benefits to both sides, that we can see, how the product works over that 1 year where you guys have been benchmarking from, and into 2 or 3 years. It'd be fantastic.
Just like going off of, our needs, what's most important to us, obviously, we're talking about contract length first, very important to us, and it's just, if you want to do an option contract, it's just that discount that's really important for you guys. It's not going to be, as high as you might want it if you do a shorter deal. So that's just something to consider when we go later into this negotiation, just
Yeah.
how that,
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that the 40% that you guys were having, when I calculated it, that's just kind of out of our range. I mean, obviously there's room to work, but I mean, the 40%, that just doesn't work for our numbers, and kind of just looking to negotiate that down a little bit. And obviously the fact that we're kind of at a little bit of a standstill with the years is kind of hard, because the years and both the amount of units that you guys are having, which we're going to talk about later, kind of have an effect on the amount of years and what makes sense for us too. So all those things kind of have a factor, and just I know you guys are strongly on the 1 year, but that realistically just doesn't look like it works too well for us financially.
100%. Yeah, I totally see where you guys are at with all that. Ben, do you have?
Yeah, going back to the data about how many, see a longer contract, more data, and, more consistent data. I was just doing the calculations. So there's 29 MLS teams. They play 34 games a season. One season, that's 986 games. I think that's a lot of data to consume into one pool for one season, to get kind of crunch the numbers and see if this product is really helping our players, because the safety of our players is top priority of us, obviously. And then if we do, so it doesn't sound like 1 year is an option for you guys. So I skipped the 2 year, I went to the 3 year, and I did that. That's 3,000 games to be able to crunch data and see how many concussions we've had. So I think, on our side, a shorter contract, we'll have plenty of data to be able to kind of tell if this is helping our players.
And if you are doing 50 units per year, that would be 3 units per team. So people are going to have to share and stuff. So even though you're doing all of those games, not all of the players are using our product at the same time. So we can't use all the data from every player. It's like the players that are using the TopSpin before that, or have used it for a little bit, to really get the right data.
For sure. I mean, as long as we get at least 1 unit per team, that will give, not every team is going to have 1 million squat racks for everybody to get on. Not every team is going to have 1 million pieces of equipment for everybody to use. That's where different individuals can use, or could use, this product throughout different training times, and really be able to share it. I don't think this is a product that really we don't need everybody on the team all at once using the TopSpin 360. So I think we can definitely, have that sharing aspect and be able to find that valuable, as long as we get enough units. Obviously, like you mentioned, not having enough could definitely be an issue, but we can cover that as we get into units. But back on as far as timeline goes, 1 is out of question, and then 2, I'm going to rule out of question as well. But that 3-year mark, I think, is going to be fantastic. Like Ben said, we have 3,000 games that all these players and athletes will be able to have some really great data for your company to, have further benchmarking than the 1 year stuff that you guys have mentioned here previously. So what do you guys think about a 3-year deal, and we can negotiate different numbers, and like you mentioned, a smaller discount? I think that would be a fine place for us to go a little bit lower on, as long as we can not get tied down to too long of a deal. It's something that we don't know what's going to work yet.
again, that's a really short deal for us, just looking at our opening being 10 years. It's just, that's just the other side of the spectrum, but just to point out, like from before, there's gonna be a lot of R&D going into TopSpin 360 into the future. It's gonna keep getting better, just like how the NFL, like they keep investing in their helmets. They just keep getting better quality pads, and just going through tests, stuff like that. And just with a shorter deal, we're just gonna have to negotiate again in 3 years, and
With all sorts of new data and all sorts of new benchmarking that hopefully in your guys' case that will be beneficial data or data that we really find value in. But until that point, we really have nothing to go off of how it's gonna work with soccer. You guys have mentioned we have never worked with soccer teams before, so we have no idea. I know it's kind of a shot in the dark for our company. You guys mentioned 5 years before. What do you say we meet in the middle at 4 years and we move on to the next phase?
I mean, that works for me, yeah, I think that sounds pretty good.
And then we can also talk about other things that might be appealing to you in your favor as well.
yeah.
No, for sure.
Should we plan on that then? Moving
Plan
forward
for
for 4
I think
years?
we said before we have a lot to discuss today, so there's no sense in me.
4 for now.
We'll call it 4 for now.
Perfect.
Alright, so then just moving on to the number of units, you guys previously said that, correct me if I'm wrong, was it 50 a year or was that 100?
We're looking at 50 a
50
year.
a year, okay.
Yes, so we were looking initially at a two-year contract to initiate, and we would like 100 units in there. But with being at 4 and our 50 a year number, I think that seems like it would work as far as 50 a year. And like you said, technology is going to be getting better and better as we go. So being able to not get everything at the very beginning, but be able to get them as they come and as they're advancing, hopefully, I think that would be beneficial for us.
And to add on to that, your product seemed like a durable product, like it's gonna last a couple of years. That 50 a year, back to what you were saying, Kale, about how, trying to get one for every player. With the durability of these products, it would be, we get those in about 3 units per team per year. So that would just be adding more to our team further down the road.
Yeah, so agreed, like, I know we're done with the year thing, but you could always do a longer contract with a little less units than we were hoping, but, I think 50 a year, I don't know.
So at 50 a year over 4 years, it's 29 MLS teams, is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
So by the end of the contract, you'd be looking at almost 7 helmets per team.
Yep.
Assuming, and we believe that all the helmets will still be intact and still be working for the players. And generally, what's the average size roster for an MLS team? Is it what, 30 guys, 40 guys?
Well, there's 10 players on the field at a time, well,
Yeah.
9 and then a goalie. So, probably 17, I'd say,
On the roster?
on the roster.
Okay.
And then you mentioned squat racks earlier. We get that TopSpin is a really goofy product and people look weird, spinning their head around, but I feel like, it would be fun for the players to really do it all together and, look like goofs. Just in the training room. It's
I do
like,
see how it could add like a little bit of a
Big
joking
chemistry,
element to the training, but it makes it fun and that will make players want to do that more. I completely understand
Yeah.
that. I just think that, the 50 units a year with the durability of your product, it will, 4 years down the road, we'll have, 7 units per team.
now, is there any chance MLS is looking to expand to more teams in the future?
Yeah, so
Maybe up to,
MLS.
30 or 32.
MLS is a growing, sport, and soccer is a growing sport, especially in the U.S. So we do plan on having a couple expansion teams. So I think we'd be willing to go a little higher on the
Yeah.
number of units purchased just for that reason. I do completely understand that and where you're coming from with that. That's an excellent point. So
And that's something too with potentially having a shorter duration of a contract, having more helmets, we see even more results, and have a higher volume of players that use the product. So that just might make sense in terms of, 4 years from now, you're gonna have more opportunities for your players to be comfortable with it. And then, we believe it's a great product and we're gonna be sitting in here again, renegotiating potentially. So, depending on the results that you see, I feel like it might make sense to even up it a little bit, just to get more guys using the product.
So just to clarify, as far as our pre-negotiation terms that we came to, you were all looking for 90 top spins at a 10-year deal. Was that 90 top spins per year, or was that?
Per year, yeah.
Okay.
Because we just feel like, 29, round up to 30, like around 30 top spins per team. Just, nice and even, get enough players using it at the same time, be really beneficial. And I feel like the more players using it, like again, like it would be a good like team bonding thing, and then use it more and more than if it was just like a single player using it or just like a couple guys using it.
For sure.
Could chime in on that a little
Yeah,
bit.
of course.
With the cost per unit being $5,000, and I know we can't change that,
Mhm.
it's not negotiable. The higher amount of units at that price right away might not be the best for us. I know we're kind of sitting at 50 units per year, and that's looking really good just based off our budget. There's always room to work a little bit, but if we could stick right around 50, that would probably be best for us at MLS.
What do you guys think about 60 commitments so that every team has
About 2 a
more
team,
than that?
couple per team.
Yeah, and I think we'd be more comfortable doing more units if we talked about discount a little bit too, and then credit terms as well on top of that. I think that would be more feasible on our end to up the units if we had more of a incentive with a discount or credit terms, in that area.
Most definitely. But you guys are thinking that 60 units would be a suitable
Yeah,
deal?
it's just
2 per team.
50 seems weird, just having some teams having
Yeah.
like 2 and only a couple having 1. So
Plus, ideally, like you mentioned, giving the players the opportunity to kind of do it together. So like if each team has at least a couple, then like they can do it together and kind of build off of each other while doing it versus like having to sit in a room and spin your head alone. Just might be a little
Give
bit
that
more
bonding aspect.
enjoyable
right?
experience,
Right.
bring the teams together a little
Okay.
bit.
Well, 100%. I think as far as our numbers look, I think 60, as long as it's all right with you guys, would be a good number for us to land. That 2 a team seems to make sense in my head. 50 is a little skewed, and there would be some odd numbers out there. We can keep that as the game plan as of right now with 60 units on a 4-year deal. I think that sounds great.
yeah. All right, so we can give you guys the room for now. That's all right.
Take a little break,
Fantastic.
talk it over.
Fantastic.
10 or 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, good. That sounds great.
Cool.
We're at the 4-year deal.
I didn't want to be on there, but coming down from 10, I think we scored there.
Yeah,
great.
No, that's huge. And then, I was like doing math. They asked for 90 units, and that's like 3 per team. 87 units is 3 per team. So if we can go 87, and that's 3 per team, if we get good discounts.
Yeah, I was looking based off of our target total dollar value. We need to stay pretty close to our optimistic.
And there's no, I
Like
messed
within
up.
30.
I messed up and said, yeah, we're planning on expanding for more teams.
Right.
But there's no promise that we will expand.
Yeah.
But I mean, at 60 units, that's still less than our target goal. So
Yeah, that's-
we're ahead of the ball.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah, and then I'd say we can go 87 units, 3 per team if,
Well, don't we got units already? We're set on 60.
Yeah, I think
is that what they said?
Yeah, we just dialed
What
in
about
60
their
there.
testimonials? Have they not said anything about the
No,
testimonials?
yeah, that's,
I was thinking that was our trump card, because we
Yeah.
don't have to do the testimonials, right?
Right.
Like, we could tell them, hey, we're not gonna do the testimonials unless you guys meet us at this discount price.
I was thinking the
I
exact
think
same
that's
thing.
our trump card.
If we can't come to terms on the discount percentage, we can rope in and say, hey, I would love to go with whatever you guys are offering, or meet you in the middle with whatever you guys are offering, but we're not gonna do any testimonials for you on that.
Exactly,
I
because
think
that's
that
not
could
in
be
our
something-
target.
Right, that could be brought in,
Honestly,
right.
like if they give us some screaming deal, we can give them a testimonial. like, we're not losing money.
We
on
could
that.
shell out the testimonial. Make it honest. But we could also say, hey, no testimonial.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
So-
I think that's a great one to keep in the back pocket.
yeah, that's their trump card.
So
I'd
what
say
are,
right there.
what are our main points right now? It's credit terms and discount
Discount,
percentage.
yeah, we
Discount
gotta stick.
percentage is huge,
Yep.
and then credit terms is another big one, and then.
Where are we hoping to come down to on discount percentage?
So we
Between
can't go
30
lower.
and 40.
Let's try not to,
30-40.
oh boy, let's try not to go below 25.
What was our?
Definitely not below 25, because that bumps us up to a total dollar value of like 855,000.
Yeah, no chance we will.
And then, if we do go below 25, we gotta get the credit terms. So if, like 20 is bare minimum, cause we can do like 5 net, 5, 10 net, whatever, for 5%.
Yeah, our optimistic
Visual
goal
on
is
that?
Yeah.
5%.
Okay.
So,
So we're dropping down to
I'd say,
30.
yeah,
I make that sound like bottom dollar.
yeah, I will say like, if we're going below 30, we need some really good credit.
Yeah, yeah.
Other than that,
We gotta hit our home, we're like the biggest deal they've had.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, we
A
could
whole-
bring up Lionel Messi, I mean,
Yeah.
come on, you guys are working with Messi.
Right.
Like, I don't think Messi's honestly gonna wear that thing, but I
Sure, Messi's
highly doubt Messi's gonna wear that.
Well, I hate it, like, the fact that they came in with like the football, like that just didn't make sense. to me.
Oh, that's why I
that's
told
how
him.
was just like, they probably walked me right into that 1 year
Yeah.
deal. He was like, yeah, for 1 year, 85% of concussions. I was like, so what you just said is that after 1 year,
Yeah.
you were able to find this much greatness.
Yeah.
1 year is what we're looking at here.
Alright.
And they have no MLS data, so I mean, this is,
So we're starting off at 30%.
I'd start
I'm
off,
starting at 40.
Starting at 40.
and then honestly, Grant, like play 35.
Right, I'm gonna,
Because right now they
so
don't
you guys
want-
mentioned that 40 is really out of budget. I'm willing to come down to 35%. I think we've got some great terms so far, but.
We can use their own thing against them, because right now they're just net 30.
how do we
So
leverage
we could
it?
say,
How do we leverage
we
it?
won't do credit terms if you give us a higher discount.
Yeah.
So we can use that against their own.
I think testimonials get brought up
Yeah, that's what I was.
in I think, like, in this one, in.
I think,
How do we
yeah,
leverage
that,
how do we leverage the testimonials? Like, what do we put that, like, how do we concession the testimonials with what?
also, we're at 32
Yeah.
minutes already.
We spent way too much time on
Yeah.
that first one. I was like, okay, can we quit going back and forth here? How will we land on one? And
Yeah, we're talking about data.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
I was like looking at my watch, I'm like, okay, we're at 20 minutes
Yeah.
on contract.
We were spinning circles and
Yeah.
Kubi was.
That's why we had to
That's
go
why I
4
was
years.
like,
I understood why we had to
Right.
go 4 years.
I'm like, dude, we're just not gonna land on this.
No, I mean, we have, I mean, they started at 10.
And I think he kind of botched by saying, 5 or maybe 6 years. 6 years. Like, that 5 number, I'm gonna remember that.
Yeah.
Let's meet in the middle on 3 to 5.
Yeah.
I just type or plug these numbers in too. If we do, 40% discount, but then get rid of the credit terms, we're like $4,000 over our total dollar value for our target. So we could definitely do that. But then if we do, we just can't do a 35% discount and no credit terms.
Yeah.
So I think we kind of talked about these together, right?
Yeah.
We try to find a,
Yeah.
we kind of find a place where we think we can get middle ground on.
Yeah.
Like,
You
maybe.
guys crunching the numbers over there are gonna be huge for like this,
Yeah.
as far as like talking about.
I wish-
discounts and stuff.
We could take like a 30-second break in the middle of the meeting, so I can we could show you guys the.
Right.
Well, because I think we can land on a spot where we're firm on 35%. They're firm on maybe like 20 or 25%, and then we
We're
come
coming in at 10
right.
with no credit terms.
Yeah, I suppose so. If we want them to jump 10 or 15%, they're gonna want us to jump 10 or 15%.
Come in.
All right. Welcome back.
Appreciate it.
How's that?
Fantastic. Looking forward to seeing what you all have to hear, or seeing what you guys all have to say.
So I know we're on a tight schedule and we did discuss our contract for
Yeah.
a long time, so, we're just gonna be direct and say, we kind of went more towards your side on the contract length. and that was really important to us. So we're kind of looking to be around that 10% discount for, to sell the 10% discount of TopSpin, and obviously we could throw in some credit terms, even out that playing field, but how do you guys feel about 10%?
Like you guys have mentioned on our 40% opening, 10% is just out of question as far as I'm concerned. We definitely need to be a little bit higher than that to make it worth it for us, including some creditors as well. I think something, you know, you worked with us on the contract length, we worked with you on number of units, so if we could find something mutually beneficial here, I think it would be fantastic. I think right off the bat, obviously 40% is out of question for you guys, but I'd be willing to come down to 35% if that works a little bit better for you.
That doesn't work for us, unfortunately, but. Okay. Well, let's talk credit terms. So would we be able to provide less discount if you're able to pay off the products within, let's say, like 15 days? Do you feel like that would be beneficial to you guys if we had that option in there?
100%. I think if we have the option to get credit terms that are going to give us more discount if paid within X amount of days, that'd be fantastic. I'd even be willing to come down to 30% on that if we could get let's say 5.15, not 30, as far as credit terms. What are you thinking about those
That's
numbers?
just way out of our reach. We just can't go that high. We're sticking to like somewhere in between the 10 to 15 range, maybe with 2 to 3% added discount with the credit terms.
So you're thinking more 10 to 15 range with an additional 3% with credit terms. Another point that I'd like to bring in as far as the discount percentage goes, I think as far as our goals of this meeting, testimonials or further marketing terms were not within our range, or not something that we were looking at. So if you would like testimonials, and if you would like us to really promote your product and really make it shine as far as the media goes, I think those would definitely be off the table if we were looking more around your guys' numbers. But we would definitely make it look like the best product in the world as far as the testimonials go. If we could reach credit terms and get them at a little bit of a better cost.
And what would you say your discount would be if you were to have those incredible testimonials?
If you were able to meet us at that 30% number with credit terms, you would have the best marketing you've ever seen.
And just
Our marketing department is second to none, best in the business, and they would be pumping out some of the best quality content that you've ever seen.
Unfortunately, that just can't be done.
And just to add some value to kind of what we're asking from you here is, the MLS as a whole, U.S. soccer, professional soccer deal. It sounds like you have one football team and some basketball teams, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like one full league of players, ordering your product here and, agreeing to terms on a contract. That just kind of adds value, and so that's a whole, countrywide, you're gonna see commercials everywhere, billboards everywhere for your product, with excellent reviews. I mean, Henry over here was saying we got, Lionel Messi playing.
He's a pretty big guy, He's a pretty popular guy in other countries as well. So, I mean, you guys could potentially expand to Europe or other places like that after making this deal.
But are you saying he would promote our product then? Or?
Absolutely.
He's a very influential
100%.
soccer player here, so.
I'm so confident that as far as the testimonial goes, we will have the top of the line best soccer players in the league promoting your product to the end of it.
I just wanted to say, so when we do the discount, and then obviously we do the credit terms, that's all just adding on to the discount. So the more that we go on both of those, it's just getting up to that 40, like getting closer to that 40% number. And honestly, it matters when you guys are paying it too. So if you guys are on top of your payments, well then the discount percentage is going to be higher. So that's also a little bit on you guys to pay that on time, so you guys can get that discount percentage. So, I mean, just, I know you guys mentioned 30 is what you wanted. Just really was a little bit off with, and then I think, did you mention 5%? So that's 35% in total, because I'm assuming you guys are gonna want those at like extra percent off, so that's kind of just around that 40, and we just weren't really, I mean, we weren't really thrilled with 40.
It just won't be profitable for us. We
It
won't
just,
be able to-
You mentioned how big MLS is, and we're just starting off, and hopefully you can see like how that big of a discount can really, take a toll on our business. And, we believe if the discount is around that 10%, I believe, MLS can really, pay off the credit terms really fast. So if there was an option in there, I feel like it would be really beneficial to add additional discount and, be able to save a little bit more money on the product.
So where are you guys at with a counter offer on discount and credit terms?
To kind of meet you in the middle, I would like maybe 13% discount with a 2/15 credit term. Obviously, we can talk about like we're thinking net 90 maybe.
So I came down from my 40% down to 30%, and you're giving me a 5% change on your guys' opening, is what you're saying, just to clarify?
Yeah, I mean, we just can't go that much of a discount.
I think another thing that you need to take into account is, this is not a small deal by any means.
Yes.
This is the entire Major League Soccer, and all if this deal goes through, all the deals in the future are most likely gonna be massive deals that are, regardless of the discount terms or the credit terms, going to be huge deals for your company. So it is a huge deal, and if credit terms can be met, that it can be, mutually beneficial. I mean, down the line, you're seeing all sorts of potential to grow and land yourself bigger deals by getting in with Major League Soccer. Like we mentioned in the testimonials, different leagues are going to want to know what's going on with the swinging helmet guys. So, down the road, you're going to have a lot more potential if you get in with this market, and with that comes a little bit higher of a discount percentage for us.
And just kind of reiterate that, the testimonials and marketing and the advertisements for you guys from the MLS, that's all free on our time, on our dime. So that's kind of just a gift for you guys from us. So in lieu of that, we would like a higher discount.
I mean, that makes sense. I feel like we definitely see the value in terms of what you guys can provide in like marketing and with your players and everything. You mentioned like Messi. We think that'd be super cool for us. But it's more so I think we just need to find that middle ground where it still does make sense for us to do the deal. I mean, 30 is just not a number that we can really get to. But I do think we can still have room to come in your guys' direction, at least a little bit there.
For sure. I think if we were working with just proportions and just percentages, if we come down 15% from where we opened and you guys come up 15% of where you opened, that puts us at 25%. What do you guys think of that as far as discount percentage?
I would still like to have that be a little lower and then dive into the credit terms a little bit after that. Just because, obviously contract length, like I said, is really important for us, and we kind of went more towards your side on that. And we're just kind of expecting a little more leeway when it comes to discount percentage, maybe just find that middle ground like Luke was saying.
Right, and I mean, I think at 25%, that is a definitive, the numbers show a definitive middle ground. And I think another thing to mention on top of that is we are buying more units than we had initially thought we wanted to, or had initially came in at. So with a higher discount percentage, you're selling more units, in turn, more profit on your guys' end. So you're not just giving away, you're not just losing money here, you're selling more units at a lower cost, in turn more profitable on your end. So I feel like at 25%, and we can hash out credit terms after this, but I think 25% is a mutually beneficial deal that is really going to work for both ends, because we are buying more units in a 4-year deal that could potentially turn into a longer deal in the future.
So you're saying you'd want 25% and then also more percent off on the credit terms?
Not necessarily. If you're willing to give us a longer time, obviously budget is something that is very important, and longer times to pay off different bills can definitely be more help for us if we can get longer times to pay off these bills. But
Do you think you'd be able to come down to like 20%, and then if we do give you that credit term percent off, like two or three, like then so if you do pay early, that helps us. You get more percent off there.
I think I'd be willing to come down to 20% as long as I get a 5%. I'd say a 5, 10, net 60 would make that 20% realistic for us.
That sounds pretty good. So we're talking about an initial 20% followed by like a 5% or 5 over 10 net 60, correct? So about 25% total.
I think that seems.
That sounds, yeah, and then that 5% is all dependent on if we pay that in that first 10 days.
So if you pay it within the time frame, then you get an additional 5%, so that's 25%, so then we came up 15 and then.
We came down 15,
Yeah.
100%. If we can make it beneficial on our end to put the budget towards the end within the first 10 days, I think that would be a fantastic place to be.
And
that
since,
was, oops, sorry, that was net 60, correct?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
And since you thought that was pretty fair, and you mentioned that you'd be willing to do those promotional letters, are you still willing to do that?
I think on our end, coming down that much is not going to make much sense with the testimonials. I think that's where we have some room to play there. Is we can keep this completely undercover and not let anybody know that we're working with TopSpin 360 at a 20% discount. I think that is the route we would go. With that, if you wanted to move up to a 25% or even a 23% discount, I think the marketing materials and testimonials would come along with that. But at that 20% number, I just don't see Lionel Messi coming to terms with that, making it worth it to see him swinging his head around out on the internet. So that's where we're at as far as the testimonials go.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing with that was us kind of moving to that 20% number came as a result of the understanding that we would have access to promotional materials, and specifically from Messi. So if that's not something that's going to be able for you guys to produce for us, I don't know how we're going to justify that going any higher than that number, even being at that number.
I mean, justifiable is 40% for us, so we're really out on a limb here. We're down 20% from where we started, and you guys are up 10%. So I honestly feel like the ball's in your guys' court, and you guys are getting a very good deal at this point. So I mean, if we wanted to continue with the 20% discount, I think we could work in some testimonials if maybe it was moved to, let's say, a 6-10 net 90-day to pay the rest of it. I think that would give us some more time, some more room with our budget to work with.
How about keeping it 5-10 but going up to net 90?
I don't think the length is quite as crucial as the actual extra discount on top of it. With our budget, we definitely will be able to pay within 60, so I think that net 90 will just give us a little more leeway. But even if we were to continue at 5 and maybe move it up to, let's say, 5.15,
like that.
net 60, and then we could assure you that potentially we could ask Messi. I can't guarantee it at that rate, but we could potentially ask some of our front runners if they'd be interested in something like that.
So just to clarify, that would be the positive letter and the video within 60 days? Oh. Because that would be the video and the letter though.
Yes. Yeah. And again, like I said, I don't think I can guarantee that. We would definitely provide you with a letter at that point, and we could definitely ask Messi with some pretty convincing arguments that he should do it. But like I said, if we can't get a little bit closer on the budget, I can't guarantee anything with the best soccer player in the world.
But it just seems like we're kind of on a cliffhanger here. I mean, Ben talked about like the marketing capabilities of the MLS, but if you guys are uncertain that you can deliver, it just seems pointless if we're going more towards less discount and better credit terms on your end.
But you got to realize the people we're talking to here. I mean, this is in theory a free service that we'd be providing you guys. We don't have, there's no bound contract that Messi has to promote any utility equipment that he uses. So this would be in return to a little bit better of a discount side of things. We would love to provide you with Messi. Otherwise, we'll get Joe Schmo from the left bench to promote your product, and that would just not resonate as well, I think, in the product, in the eyes of your product.
And this is for 4 whole years too.
Yeah.
That we'd be advertising, doing testimonials from the players, making
Okay.
videos for 4 years. I mean, that's pretty valuable,
And then-
especially for a company that's starting out.
And
like
just to add, I guarantee we could probably get Messi within those 4 years.
Okay.
It might not be the first year, it could be the 3rd year, but, it would be there.
And
Guaranteed.
we really do believe the product speaks for itself and that the players will like it, and with that additional safety, because the last thing a player wants to do is be out for, a couple of weeks and just have that much detriment to their health. So
Exactly.
I feel like if we come to terms and, like you said, within a couple of years, I feel like the players would really adapt and really like it. So I'm liking where we're going, and yeah, just another thing for the testimonial, we would like to, do some studies and kind of like get percentages, like actual data of like how beneficial TopSpin has been in the MLS, just because we're entering a new field. Does that sound alright with you? Just you're able to get data on players. and-
Plus, with that, it gives you guys kind of more access to the results that you're seeing, obviously, so down the road, you'll have more to evaluate, when considering potentially signing another contract.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, so we're landing on 20%,
515.
515, net 60.
Alright, training.
Fantastic. Let's move into training. And that's another point that I was gonna bring up just now, is I think that would be a great time for you guys to be tracking the data and the stats, is during that training
Just like-
process.
Yeah.
So what were you thinking as far as training that would be provided to our athletes?
So our opening was 5 hours of technical assistance annually, and then just 5 hours of technical assistance. I know you guys had 10 hours of training and 6 hours of technical assistance. Is that correct?
We're hoping, 5 hours of training and 6 hours of technical assistance to actually work with the product, and 5 hours of training actually teaching people, our athletes, how to get the best benefits out of the products. I think that'd be very beneficial. I mean, 10 hours out of every year, 16 hours total out of your year, I think is, for the next 4 is something that would definitely benefit our athletes.
Wouldn't it be 5 hours of free training per team, or would it be overall?
I think,
Per team.
Per team?
I think each team is gonna need to really understand how it's gonna work, and this is a big issue that we're covering here, that your product covers here, is concussions and safety, and that definitely reigns as A1 on our priority list within the league. So if each team could get hands-on training and really feel comfortable using their product to get the best benefits out of it, I think that would benefit both of us.
And then just like a quick logistics question, I know each team has their own trainers. Do they usually flip the trainers? Do new trainers come in to take spots, or are they pretty set in stones? Because I feel like they could really understand. Okay.
I'd say.
I feel like they could just really understand the product well, because they've had
The
that
trainers,
exercise
the
time.
trainers are pretty set in stone.
Okay.
Just to add as well, so what about repairs or, warranties? If it breaks somehow, a player drops it, are we gonna be able to get a free TopSpin?
Why, do you have that information?
Yeah, so we haven't had any real issues with it. It's pretty easy to repair. I mean, it's you just put that little weight on there. So sometimes we've had them come off or anything like that after continuous use. So with that technical support, we'll be able to get trainers and technical support people out there and helping repair that issue. We haven't had any completely fail on us or needed a complete warranty, so we haven't run into that issue yet, but we definitely get a trainer out there to you to fix the problem if it does fail or anything like that. So
Okay, awesome. So and that would be free of charge. You guys would just be able to do that.
What are we thinking over on that one?
I would say it's part of what the included training is at that
Oh,
point.
yeah.
So I mean, you're kind of already paying for training and for technical assistance. So we're not gonna charge you and say that the technical assistance doesn't cover that.
Right.
So that's just gonna be part of it.
Okay.
Well, fantastic. So does 10 hours of training and 6 hours of technical assistance sound like something that we can lock in and set in stone for the next 4 years?
You think 10 hours of training is necessary? I feel like once we show the trainers how to use it, maybe like in just like a couple hours, or maybe just have that like 5, like I feel like they would be able to get a good understanding and be able to show the players how it really works.
Totally. I
Like,
think
you don't need to like, you know,
I think-
further value us is like, I feel like your team can handle the product fairly, you know, works well on its own and
And that's
pretty
something
self-explanatory.
we've seen with the NFL already, and I know we talked about it being a little bit different, but they didn't really need just a ton of hours of training. I mean, it's relatively simple. There's not a whole lot to it. So in terms of just getting in there and teaching you guys and trainers how to use it, you're probably gonna find that you don't even need the full training. And that's kind of why we're at a lower number with that, is just because we don't think you're gonna need all of that. So it doesn't make sense for us to, send somebody out if you're not, gonna be in a situation where you need it.
Yeah, and on top of that, our website has some really good videos of how people use it. And I mean, yeah, it's really simple.
for sure.
Put it on your head and start spinning.
I appreciate that information, and obviously, like I mentioned, safety is A1, and really being able to not only have our trainers know how to use it, but the athletes and all the staff as a whole be able to use it. I think that would come at great service to both of us. And like you guys mentioned before, there's some great advancements that you guys plan on featuring in the future. So, I think if maybe not 10 hours of actual training, but if we move down to, let's say, 7 hours of technical training with an extra hour of technical assistance, and we can call that the repair fee or the repair time, like we mentioned before, as it would be roped in with it. So that would land us at 8 hours total of training for the 4 years each year, and that would really be helpful as far as when your product is advancing and when new technologies come out. I think that 8 years would really be able to relearn and reteach how this optimal safety is going to really look and how it's going to work for the league.
Okay, so you're saying 7 hours of training and just 1 hour of technical assistance, 8 hours total?
8 hours total of training and answering questions and fixing broke products or replacing. I think that would be fantastic.
Honestly, that sounds pretty good to me. I think that makes a lot of sense for both of us, kind of what we're both looking for.
I feel like, when we have the specialists there, those hours can kind of overlap.
For sure.
Yes.
For sure.
Kind of adapt on their own time, so around just like 8 hours total.
For sure. All right, well, I think we've gotten through most of our agenda today. To kind of recap for you guys, we landed on a 4-year deal, buying 60 units a year at a 20% discount with credit terms of 515 net 60 with 8 hours, 7 hours of training, and 1 hour of technical assistance provided each year from TopSpin 360. I think this is going to be a fantastic partnership, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
Yeah, and then just to dive in a little bit on the letter of recommendation in the video, we agreed to a video of just like how well it's working within the MLS and testimonial within 120 days. On top of that, individual players, superstars like Messi, Gareth Bale, stuff like that. We just agreed to.
Over the contract
Yeah.
at some point,
Yeah.
kind of getting included and showing them using the product.
100%.
All right,
Cool.
great.
And then we just have these contracts here too. Alright, so now we just pass this around.
Fantastic. I don't sign a contract without shaking a hand. We're there, Grant. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This
Nice
job. This job. Oh,
Pleasure. Pleasure.
Thank you.
Pleasure.